So I just put together this little crater the other day. This little resin pour. And it turned out pretty cool, so I thought I would make a video of me doing another one. Alright. So I put this one together last night. It's all dry. So I just made this out of sculpt mold. It's actually a little wet on the bottom, that's fine. Pretty easy stuff. It's kind of like paper mache and plaster mixed together. Just add water until it's kind of a cottage cheesy consistency. And you just mush it out into a crater shape. And we're gonna add some rocks from Woodland Scenics, some sand, maybe some different turfs. Got a bunch of stuff. So I also got some chinchilla sand or hamster sand, whatever it is. It's nice because it's just real thin and fine, so it doesn't look like gravel next to minis, basically. So let's get started. All right, so first I'm gonna take some Mod Podge, a gross old brush, and I'm just gonna spread it around in different places, and we'll sprinkle some stuff on there. Alright, now I got a little base coat. Just gonna sprinkle whatever you want on it. A little bit of medium buff ballast. And then we'll just top it off with some chinchilla sand. All right, and then after that, I'll mix some Mod Podge up with some water and spread it around to kind of soak in and hold everything down. All right, so got it mixed up. It's pretty runny. I want it to kind of spread and soak in. I'm gonna take a little pipette, little bits, and just kind of drip it in. It's probably gonna run off, but that's fine. So there it is so far, and then we're gonna go ahead and set it outside and let it dry up, and then we'll paint it. I might probably sponge out some of these heavier areas here. My airbrush paper towel. So I'll just pick up those puddles. All right, and then we'll let her dry. All right, so while the crater's drying, just going over little bits I think I'm gonna throw in. I got a little dragon skull there. It's just covered with some wraithbone and Agrax Earthshade. Cool little necron off an Indomitus. I think it was a Blade Guard captain. Drop him in there. Just did a quick little brush of Iron Warriors and then some dots of Moot Green. Just give him a little glow eye. He's still living. And then a little chunk of ruin from a terrain set. Still a little wet. I'm also probably, just because I like it so much, probably do some more barbed wire, because I think it's cool looking. Alright, so I'll probably just do about yay much. Yeah, screw a little bit longer one. This is just Army Painter. They make some cool razor wire, and they stock it in the local gaming store, so that's what I get. And then to coil it, let's take a brush end or something. I'll wrap her up. And kind of flex it around, and boom, there you got barbed wire. Piece of cake. I think that's it. Add a couple more colors to that once it dries, and then we're gonna start painting the base. All right, so still a little wet, but it's okay. I don't really care that much. So we're gonna start off with a couple drops of some, there we go, flow improver, just cause. And we're gonna just start with a base coat of dark brown. Hopefully this stuff isn't too chunky. It's been around a while. All right, and next up, I'm just gonna use a little bit of metal stone just to kind of feather in a little color here and there. All right, and then to finish off the base, just did a little bit of light gray. We'll just put a little of that in there. So done with the airbrush. I just wanted to, a little quick tip. Looking for airbrush cleaner. Windex works perfect, and it is way cheaper. I was buying these bottles of airbrush cleaner from like Hobby Lobby or whatever, and they're $4. I think I got this for probably less than $4, and I've been using it for at least a month and a half. So if you airbrush, Windex makes a great cheap cleaner. All right, so next part, we're gonna add some burnt grass, which I think is, that's what I used on my other one. So we're gonna use some burnt grass, and then I'm also gonna use some Deadland Tufts from Army Painter. And then we got our little bits here and there. I still need to add a little more color to this. I don't like how it's just plain. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. All right, so we're back. And we're gonna add a little bit of grass. I dry brush a little more onto that just to darken it up a little. So we'll get our, oof, I don't wanna use that brush. What we're just gonna do, just gonna get some Mod Podge. And we're just gonna kind of put this wherever we want grass. And just to set a couple of, I don't want to cover the whole thing in this because I have to shake it off. I want to put a little of this mixture we had here with just water and Mod Podge. I'll just drip a little. That's why you spray it with alcohol first usually, but I am out. So I'm just gonna kind of let it hopefully soak in and not ball up too much. Just in some spots where we want the grass to be a little thicker, because the majority of this is gonna shake off. All right, so it's still a little wet, but I didn't put a lot in here, so we can go ahead and pour the resin. I'm just gonna touch up these little spots real quick, so they're not as glaring white. Okay, good enough. So these guys decide on placement. So how that's kind of just sitting there, so what about this? A little bit of Sterling mud. I just kind of want to dab it around the base a little bit. Okay, so I guess I can glue a couple of, while we're waiting for that to dry, we can just stick on a couple of these little tufts. So, these do have little sticky backers on them, but I mean, there's no way that sticker's gonna hold onto a piece of terrain that's getting the models moved over it and shoved in the closet, tossed in a box. So we'll kind of just put a little Mod Podge on the bottom. Peel that guy off. Do a little more. We want to put one, maybe put one right here. Looks like a good spot. If I was a deadland tuft, that's where I would grow. That would also be the big one. Maybe we'll put another one next to it. A little smaller one. That one there. two next to each other on this one. Perfect. That looks pretty good to me. I'll put this guy back so I don't lose him. I'm addicted to buying little, I don't know, I love terrain stuff. Just for some reason, I don't think I can leave the store without coming out with at least one pack of something that I don't really need. All right, so we got that glued. And then I'll just do a little bit of, you still got some of this mixture, Mod Podge mixture. I'm just gonna drop a little drip down each to kind of soak through to the bottom. And hopefully kind of keep it in there. Pretty much it. That Sterling mud's still a little wet, but I mean, we're kind of going for a muddy puddle of gross water, so if it gets a little bit of extra brown in it, that's fine. This is the resin we're going to be using. Amazing Clear Cast. I think I got this either at Hobby Lobby or my local art store, Desert Art Supply. It's pretty easy. It's just 1-to-1 mix by volume. So I mean, I see a lot of people weigh them and stuff like that, but I pretty much just use these. I'll mix up two little, whatever, tins full of each. And I'll pour it into my little bowl here, add some color and mix her up. B-side. One. I wouldn't be too concerned about complete accuracy and how much you're adding here. I mean, obviously try to get as close as possible, but I'm definitely not the most accurate person, and all the stuff I've done with this resin particularly has turned out great. So, and when you're mixing it, mix a little on the less side, because it's always better to mix a little more than end up with, I don't know, a bunch of resin that you don't have a use for, and then you just throw it away, because this stuff's kind of expensive. Let that run under there, get this closed up. Gather, okay. Handy dandy, super dirty paper towel. That out. Okay. What do I do with those? Just mix with a popsicle stick. I'll add some color to it first. So the last one I did, you gotta be careful adding color. I mean, I've been using these paints, which, I mean, they make coloring for resin, but it's kind of expensive, and it comes in a bottle a little bigger than this, and you use like, for this, you would probably use like 1/4 of a drop, and it'll still turn it to blue. But I kind of like using just normal paint to color it. It does just fine. So I'll start with 2 drops of green. Where'd my brown go? And then we'll go 2 drops of dark brown. 3 drops of dark brown. I want it kind of muddy. And we'll mix it together, see where we're at, and add some more color if we need to. It's looking pretty gross, which is perfect. You want to mix it real good. All right, looks pretty good. It's nice and murky and gross. So we'll go ahead and just pour her in. All right, and there we go. Got a little resin base there, and I got a little extra here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add it to this little bunker scene I've been making. Just a couple of spots here. Added some yesterday. It turned out a lot more green than this stuff did, but I'll pour the sandbags out here. Another project that I just haven't quite finished yet. Trying to just hit all these low spots. What the heck that is. Oh. All right, we'll let that kind of settle, and that's, I don't want to waste any of this stuff. Get out of there. All right, cool. Little bunker I'm working on. Got little lights inside. I need to figure out how to hide these wires, but that's another project. Okay, cool. So now the resin's poured. You want to use like usually a torch or something a little easier so you don't burn your fingers, but I don't have a torch. I'm just gonna lighter. And you're just gonna want to kind of hit the bubbly areas with some heat. And it'll get rid of all those little bubbles because you don't want those bubbles in there when it dries. Oop, move that guy around a little bit. that was. I'll cut a little something on fire there, so I'm gonna leave that little bubble out. I'll roll that over and just drop her in like that. Maybe, yeah, like that. And we'll bend that over once it sets. That looks pretty good. So we got most of the bubbles out of there. Cool. There you go. That's it. Now we just, gotta wait till tomorrow and she'll be dry. And hopefully she'll turn out something like this. And see, this one turned out way more green than the other one. I didn't add as much brown to the last one, which that's fine. Looks kind of cool. And then, yeah. And this stuff has a pretty good smell to it. So if you got a back room or a garage or something, it'd probably be good. So your wife doesn't complain too much. My wife loves to tell me things smell. Spray paint in the garage or whatever. So I'll leave this in the back room to dry. I was thinking I did kind of want to have any resin left. Got a little bit left. Kind of want to do a little puddle inside that tower piece. Kind of cool. Cool deal. There we are. And that took us, shoot, it was maybe an hour. It took me to put that together. And that was other than obviously making the sculpted mold base, which probably took, I don't know, 3 minutes and then had to dry. But there it is. I'll let her set and yeah, you got yourself a crater.